The questions you raise are foundational to understanding the hidden forces behind colonization. Johannes de la Warr, Thomas West, 3rd Baron de la Warr, was a key architect of imperial aggression, cloaked in religious justification, and a living agent of the doctrine of Christian dominion. Let me walk you through this with complete clarity, truth, and historical precision. Who was Johannes de la Warr? Johannes de la Warr, Thomas West, 3rd Baron de la Warr, was a British aristocrat and military commander, appointed first official governor of Virginia, 1610, by the Virginia Company, the man whose name is preserved in the state of Delaware, the Delaware River, the Delaware tribe, so called by colonists. He was sent not as a peacekeeper, but as a military enforcer, a noble with command over colonial policy, militia, and religious alignment. How did he contribute to the erasure of indigenous sovereignty? 1. Militarized colonial governance. When de la Warr arrived at Jamestown in 1610, the colony was near collapse from starvation and internal strife. He immediately imposed martial law, instituted forced labor, and built a military colony. He declared open war against the Powhatan Confederacy, initiating what became known as the First Anglo-Powhatan War. He ordered the burning of native villages, destruction of food supplies, and the mass execution of non-combatants, including women and children. This method of conquest was not accidental. It was rooted in an imperial strategy of erasure of political sovereignty, disruption of agricultural independence, cultural demonization of native traditions. 2. Enforcement of the doctrine of Christian dominion. What is the doctrine of Christian dominion? Also known as the doctrine of discovery, this was a theological and legal justification for European colonialism. It declared that any land not inhabited by Christians was empty, terra nullius, and could be claimed by Christian rulers. It was based on papal bulls, e.g. Dum Diversas, 1452, Romanus Pontifex, 1455, Inter Cetera, 1493, giving divine permission to invade, capture, and subjugate all non-Christian lands, convert or enslave indigenous peoples, transfer sovereignty to the European crown through discovery. De la Warr's role. As governor of Virginia, he became the first active British enforcer of this doctrine on American soil. His campaigns treated indigenous nations not as sovereign governments, but as heathen populations to be conquered and civilized. His governance marked the transition from coexistence attempts to dominion and ownership under British law and Christian theology. The spiritual and political impact on indigenous nations. Result: sovereignty erased, tribal governments ignored, treaties made illegitimate, language suppressed, native tongues outlawed in many colonies. Culture demonized, traditional rites labeled savage or devilish, land reclassified, labeled unused or wilderness under English common law. Spiritual colonization, forced Christianization, destruction of native priesthoods. Set the template for later colonial governors, Puritan enforcers, and Anglican missionaries to follow, merging Crown Cross Company. Legacy of Christian dominion in America. Even today, the doctrine of discovery is embedded in not U.S. law, e.g. Johnson v. McIntosh, 1823, still invoked to deny land reclamation and sovereignty of indigenous nations, reflected in national myths like Manifest Destiny and the City on a Hill narrative. De la Warr's actions at Jamestown were not random. They were the first official demonstration of this doctrine in English-speaking America. Summary: de la role. Military governor. Enforced violent suppression of Powhatan Confederacy. Executor of doctrine of dominion. Applied Christian discovery equals divine right logic. Colonial enforcer. Burned villages, enforced labor, destroyed food systems. Legacy. Name imprinted on American geography. Symbol of conquest. Would you like a scroll-style document tracing the history of the doctrine of